Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
ECSI fans, do you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all of your sports books and track all of your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You can also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as they're the best account on the platform. Head to the App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire to download the app.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report for Tuesday, November 14th, 2023, our weekly show with Andrew McInnis on this channel. Then on Thursday, we reciprocate and head over to Wager Talk and McInnis Picks, and we do all the same there. Shout out to the gentlemen behind the glass, Joseph Shea, Evan Lewis, Cade Horton, Olu, and Bennett, and a big shout out to our proud sponsor in partnership with WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, hop on over to Google Play or wherever you download the app. Download it. It's free. And guess what? It's educational. It can get you back into the green. Start tracking your wagers, your investments, your assets. Add them to your portfolio. Turn entertainment into profit, ROI, and some of that good stuff. So, and they also offer a great affiliate program, some flash cash to deck the halls, fill the stockings, pay for Christmas. Send an email over to affiliate@wagerwire.com. Tell them JD at ECSI sent you. Travis, Zach, and the rest of that team and community will take good care of you. Without further ado, let's go over. There's a big, huge football game in Canada on Sunday, the Grey Cup. Let's get his thoughts, the one and only Mr. Andrew McInnis.
I'm ready to go. Lots of team totals available today, too, in the NHL, Jeff. Good to see you.
Great to see you. Love the backdrop there. One of my all-time favorite hockey games and memories. We talk a lot about St. Catherine Street. We talk about the old Forum. I was there for the last weekend when the Bruins played the Montreal Canadiens, and we stole game one or game three, I can't even remember, and then lost the next game. Let's just say was quite hung over on St. Catherine Street after both of those games. But I love when we meet. I love to see the backdrop. It brings back great memories of my childhood when the Bruins, when I grew up with Bobby Orr, and then of course Ray Bourque, and now times have changed, but I still enjoy the Montreal Bruins, and I know you enjoyed a victory not too long ago, Montreal and Bruins.
It was fun to watch, and it's a team that's playing a lot better hockey when they play at home versus on the road, but they're stringing things together, and you know what's so funny is that they're playing better 5-on-4 than they are 5-on-5. Last year, I almost would have rather them just deny the power plays. That's how bad their power play was, but this year, the power play is going, it's playing well, and you know that's so good about that Boston Bruins team, though, Jeff, even in a game where they didn't look their best, they still get 1 point and lose that one in overtime. That's a great team you have over there in Boston, and they're doing it again this year. And, even games, they haven't looked great so far. What do they have? Only one regulation loss still, I think, and 2 losses in overtime. Is that what it is? I mean, it's very impressive. And the fact of the matter is, if you can play a game that's not really that great and still end up, getting a point out of that is fantastic. But a test tonight for my Canadians as they host the Calgary Flames.
Yes, and before we get into the hockey, let's stay here for 1 second. You sent me the text. I was like, good, he deserves it. And that was the firing of the Edmonton coach there. And I had a lot of people reach out. I had put the Oilers on the desk. I'm like, you can stay here with a few other teams at this point till further notice. And then I'm getting everyone, fired coach, perfect bounce back spot. Of course, the team total gets there. Of course, they win in regulation. Of course, they win. They cover the puck line. Thoughts of Edmonton firing the coach? Even McDavid came out and he felt guilty. He said it wasn't justified. What is your thoughts on them moving on from the coach?
Well, just really quick, Jeff, you talked about all the things that won: regulation, puck line, team total. The one that lost was the one, of course, I ended up on. It was still a winning night last night, but I had the first period puck line. Ends 1-1 after the first period. They win 4-1. That's those are tough. Those are tough to swallow, but I wanted to turn a favorite into a plus price, and that plus 120. But look, I think you know how I feel. I've talked to you before about it. I don't like the general manager, Ken Holland. He's on the last year of his contract. He probably will not be brought back to be the Edmonton Oilers general manager. I saw this Instagram post, and they were talking about it on some other podcasts as well, where they went through all the bad deals he's made as the GM of the Edmonton Oilers. One of them being getting rid of Taylor Hall for Adam Larson. One of them being bringing in Duncan Keith. One of them being paying Darnell Nurse that much money. Paying Milan Lucic, I think it was like $3.5 million for a few years, and the guy played 1 year for them. Jack Campbell, obviously, $5.5 million. He's getting paid right now to play in the minor leagues. He's the one of the wealthiest guys in the minors right now, and he's not playing in the pro leagues. And so it's tough. I mean, it's disappointing. But one thing that I find must be really tough too, Jeff, if you look at it like this. When they lost to San Jose, that was the okay, we got to get rid of something. You know what I mean? The funny thing is they're still on their road trip. So the next game they have to go ahead and play Seattle. They play a good game. They beat Seattle, and they showed footage of him walking off, talking to his coaches and saying, pretty much doesn't matter. We got this game. We're out of here, because their next game was back at home. Right. So they weren't going to fire the coach on the road trip. Usually they wait until they're back at home after the road trip, but they bring in McDavid's former junior coach, and they said it happened to be a coincidence. People are going after McDavid as if it was him that got the job done and figured it out. But so the president of hockey operations is now like a former agent or something like that of McDavid, and now the head coach is a former head coach of Connor McDavid. But in long here, my biggest problem is this. Yesterday when they won, who scored for them? Leon scored. Connor scored. Evander Kane scored. And I think Zach Hyman scored. So you talk to one guy down the road, he might tell you that's a good thing. I'm the guy that will tell you, what difference does that make? The new coach came in and the best players played like they were the best players. What happens if next game Draisaitl does not score the first goal of the game? What happens if McDavid and Draisaitl don't score a goal, both of them? That's the issue. Like, that's why I love teams like the Hurricanes. That's why I like the Vegas Golden Knights and even the Boston Bruins. If David Pastrnak or Brad Marchand do not score tonight for the Boston Bruins against the Buffalo Sabres, there's still a really good chance that they might win that hockey game, right? I think that if you look at a team like Edmonton, there's so much pressure with 21 skaters out there skating around. If those two guys don't score, I think they're tough to get a point. They're tough to get the win. Would you agree with me?
Yes, I do. That's always been the Bruins, their playoff mantra, if that's the correct word there, is if you hold their top line down, you're gonna win, because they have nothing from the second and the third line, which is different now. regular season last year and obviously the start of this year. They're getting production from their second line. They're getting production from their third line. I mean, the Oilers' first line is so damn top heavy, and I know they're not going to break it up, but the fact of the matter is as you said, a team that has no one has an equal top line as they do, but a team that can slow the top line down and then match up with the second and third line, and you got leaky goalie and leaky defenseman back there. That's how Edmonton has been losing all these games, especially the start of this year.
No doubt about it. When you have a goal save percentage like their goaltenders do, and you have the goals against average, I mean, I couldn't believe it. They got scored on 40 seconds into the game. I'm not a huge pre-game show guy unless it's the Canadians, because as you know, I'm just a fan of that team. But I actually watched the full pregame show. It was about 25 minutes. All the hype, all the excitement, and then bang, top corner, like they get scored on. It was like clockwork that, no matter what happens, no matter who you bring in as the coach, and obviously it's not the coach's fault. He just got there, right? But I thought that was quite funny that, things worked out for them. They won 4-1, but the first goal of the game, 40 seconds in, well, some things never change, right? So, that's a big problem, and a lot of people wonder, will McDavid, if you were to set some odds, we'll have to talk to some odds makers, because if we can get some current odds of will McDavid be an Oiler for life, yes or no, I think a lot of people will be leaning more towards the no button.
Well, that's the problem. You go back to the big Herschel Walker heist. I know we're switching sports here, but the same thing. You go back to Connor was compared to Wayne Gretzky. Would you ever trade Gretzky in his prime? No. If you were going to trade McDavid, I couldn't even imagine what the asking price, especially in the height of he hasn't even really peaked yet. I know his numbers are off the charts, but you would have to go to let's say Blackhawks team and say, okay, we want your next first round picks for the next 10 years. And oh, by the way, throw Connor McDavid in there too. And then we'll go from there. Yeah.
Anybody that wanted to trade for McDavid would lose the trade. There's just, because how do you replace somebody like that? You can't. It's unfortunately, who a guy that I think that might get traded from the Oilers is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I saw something out there. I still don't believe this is true. I can't believe it's true, Jeff. I saw somewhere that said I think he's had 8 different coaches since he's been a member of the Edmonton Oilers. I cannot believe that. He's one of the longest tenured Oiler players, but he's more of a 200-foot player at this point. He's not blowing you away offensively. He'll get on the score sheet and things like that, but I think he's an asset. He's kind of a veteran at this point, but he's still young. You know what I mean? He's not too old, and I feel like he might be someone that's worth moving. But the problem is a lot of the guys that they have worth moving have high contracts, so nobody would want them. That's the issue. But yeah, look, I'm frustrated. I didn't bet them on the money line or team total. I'll be honest with you. And I know you're saying that, of course, all those come through. It happens every year with a different team every single season. A coach gets canned. It doesn't happen this early, though, in the season, right? But a coach gets canned, and they go on a big streak. And actually, on Puck Time, on Wager Talk, I'm doing my buy and sell segment again. And let's take a look at the schedule here for the Oilers. They've got the Kraken again, Lightning, Panthers, Hurricanes, Capitals, Ducks. Following that, they've got the Golden Knights, Jets, Hurricanes. So kind of a mixed bag of lighter opponents and tougher opponents, but I'd say they're going to go on a run, and people will blame the coaching situation. It's my least favorite thing about hockey, Jeff. Honestly, okay, how can these players play better all of a sudden because one new guy's behind the bench? It really just sparks them. It's kind of like the goalie getting pulled during the game, even though those goals weren't his fault.
Oh yeah, in football, the defense, you give up 31 points. Well, you didn't account for the 2 pick sixes that you gave up. So there's 14 there. And oh, by the way, you fumbled on our own 8-yard line. So, you basically the defense allowed 10 or 13 points for the game, but on the books it's 30 or 31, and it's just selective memory. And we want to persuade it any way we can. And I've said all along, it was in the off season the Oilers made the big mistake. You knew the problem was at the goalie. You needed to fix the goalie situation. The Bruins were willing and able. Hey, we would have gladly given you Ullmark for $5.5 million. Swayman would have went to the one, and then we would have figured out we would have had someone for $500,000 or $1 million, and you would have taken Ullmark back there would make Edmonton instantly better than what they are right now.
Agree. And I know I'm Canadian and stuff, but I genuinely want to see them do well because it's good for the league, for the best player to do well, for his team to do well. And it's unbelievable to look at the track record. Did you know he had since he became the coach of the Oilers, he had the second best coaching record in the league? Woodcroft, and he got fired, right? So, I mean, that's crazy to me to look at, but you're right. And you look at some of the better teams. Let's look at Tampa Bay when they won. Vasilevsky. You talk about Boston Bruins with their awesome record last year with Ullmark and Swayman playing well. And even Vegas, they didn't have one, but they had multiple goaltenders play extremely well last year. Colorado, they had some hot goaltenders. They had some guys playing really well. It's just Carolina, that's always been their backbone. And the Maple Leafs, why have they not been able to take that next step? Because they've never really had a goalie steal a series for them too much, and that's a huge factor. It really is. But no matter who it is, Jeff, I'm sure you'd agree with me. Like it's important to see the better players winning. As funny as that sounds, like when McKinnon won, it was great for the league. Because he was the first overall pick. Jack Eichel, going from Buffalo, all the crap he had to deal with in Buffalo, not getting the surgeries, goes to Vegas, wins the Stanley Cup. I just think it's good to see the best players winning.
No, I agree. I'm going to stick with the hockey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games on the docket. My Bruins travel to the Sabres. Minus 145 with a 6.5 there. Your Canadians host the Flames. Pittsburgh at Columbus. No 7s on the docket today. The Ducks travel to Nashville. Devils at the Jets. Kind of surprising to see the Jets minus 145 against the Devils. The Yotes at Dallas. And the Panthers at San Jose. It was kind of funny. In our action parlay that we got the reverse sweep on Sunday, our final piece was the Sharks at the Ducks, and took them plus 167, 1-1 after one period, 2-1, hanging around there. And then a shot from the point that hit a stick and was this puck just fluttering like this and this and this, miraculously goes over the goalie's shoulder for 3-1. Thanks for playing. But that's Sharks in a nutshell. They win 2 games. And then they travel to Vegas. They get smoked. Vegas minus 550, by the way, on Friday night there. But Panthers minus 250, now 298 on DraftKings, 270 at the Circa right now with a 6.5. So you got a big board. As I like to do, I'll throw the board over to you. What are your eyes seeing tonight, Andrew, in the NHL?
There's so much to like here, Jeff. A lot of what I'm seeing is love for the Boston Bruins, and I actually like the under in that game as well. The Boston Bruins tend to play very well defensively off a loss, but they also play very well defensively against a team with a losing record. I think that what separates some of these great teams from other teams is that they might win a lot of games, but they win games by not only holding their opponent down, but just controlling the puck on their own end. Now, you and I talk about team totals a lot together, and I'd say honestly, my ratio is probably 90-10 as far as overs to unders with me betting team totals. Maybe a little more flexible, maybe 80-20. But what stuck out to me here was Buffalo team total under 2.5. current price, I'll pull that up right now for us, is plus 105. That was a little bit higher at one point, but I think Boston, after that loss against Montreal, and just that game actually could have been a lot worse. I don't think things get better for the Buffalo Sabres. Tage Thompson hasn't been playing very well. Their top six hasn't been able to create that many chances. Their defensemen jumping into the rush. I feel like the scouting report is out on those guys, and it's kind of well known about them. Initially, when I saw this game, I wanted to get involved in the Bruins. I wanted to think that they're going to have a great game. And then they said, you know what? The under is a good play, but if I like the Bruins and I like the under, what does that mean, Jeff? Well, I think the Buffalo Sabres are going to have a tough time tonight. So Buffalo under the 2.5 team total at plus 105 stuck out to me. And a reminder for everybody at home, the current money line price, as you talked about, they're up to like 160-ish at DraftKings. So you're going to turn that 160 into a plus 105, 110 for the Boston Bruins to have a good defensive game. Was one that stuck out to me right away. Another one that I thought was kind of interesting was the Ducks and Predators. So this is kind of my contrarian play of the day, I'd say. I think the Ducks are going to see some regression, and I think the Predators are as well. The Predators have been a big-time over team, and I know that I've been preaching on every show I do that it's important to not try and reinvent the wheel. Don't try and look for something that's not there quite yet. Follow some trends. But based on all kinds of analytics, all kinds of stuff I've looked at, the Predators' shooting percentage has slowly started to fade game by game by game. And I mentioned it 2 weeks ago on the Midday Market Report, the fact that the Predators are, middle of the pack in the NHL as far as shots on goal per game, but yet that puck was finding the net. And for Anaheim, same thing for them. You know that a couple days ago, they ranked right next to San Jose in advanced expected goal numbers. Isn't that crazy? I mean, for how they've been playing, I don't think it's feasible for them to be able to keep that track record up and to be able to keep things going. I think still there's so much youth. I know they're a more exciting team. I like the under, and I like the plus 100 on the 6 there. If you can get 6.5, sure, but under 6 plus 100 there. And here's the deal. I think that over 6.5 is a really good play for the Devils and Jets. I've talked about preseason rankings versus current rankings. We're here in November 14th. And as you can tell, I'm mostly involved in totals today. But I'll tell you what, I will be fading the Sharks because I don't want to keep missing out on those tickets. So I'll be finding a way to bet against those Sharks. But the Winnipeg Jets, if you look at them right now, they're actually a strong offensive team. And I keep talking about analytical numbers I've been looking at this year. 5-on-5 wise, this Florida team ranks top 3 actually in expected goals created, in shooting percentage, in power play opportunities as well. They've looked good. So looking at Florida, I'm interested in them, but Winnipeg and the Devils, I think the Devils, despite their injuries, they have been able to kind of overcome that. They have been able to still be involved in some fast-paced games, and I think the old Winnipeg is gone. I'm not sure. Like, you remember you and I used to talk about this Winnipeg team as a dead nut under team. That's why they're going to do okay in the playoffs. If they have a chance against Vegas, they're going to have to win 2-1. If you take a look at some of their scores, it's unbelievable. I mean, they've been involved in some games where the total adds up to 11, 12 goals. And I think that people are kind of sleeping on this Devils team right now without Heischer and Jack Hughes. But you know just as well as I do that just because they're without 2 guys, it does not make or break their team. They're still a great team. So we'll go with the Buffalo team total under the 2.5 there. And we'll give out the Winnipeg game over, as I see that team scoring goals right now, and I don't really want to go away from it. And I think overall we're going to start seeing some regression for the offenses of the Ducks and the Predators. So 3 total plays there, Jeff. And as far as the Habs game, you talk about the opening numbers. I don't know if you have any spreadsheets open right now, but I'm seeing some movement. The Flames have certainly gotten some love here, and it's kind of interesting to me because I'm a Habs follower and faithful, and they haven't really done a good job of 2 good performances in a row, but you're giving me minus 166 on a team that's pretty much near the bottom of the league. I don't think the Flames have played much better hockey than the Habs have.
No, they're definitely overpriced. My overnight number was Flames minus 145, Habs plus 125, with a 6.5 over minus 15 cents. Currently at circa, he's got it at 148. It's as high as 155 at Caesars in New Jersey. 164 at FanDuel in Pennsylvania. 6.5 under now, minus 20 cents in the Canadians. I'll do the contrarian side where if you like the Flames and you don't want to lay the price, you can get the Flames plus 105, 3.5 over. They're currently 3.5 under, minus 25 cents. So if you want the Flames tonight and you don't want to lay the lumber, you can take their team total over 3.5 plus 5 cents. If you like Montreal tonight, you're not sure if they're going to win the game, you can get their team total over 2.5, but you got to lay the 30 cents.
What are your thoughts on that overall? I'm curious because I looked at that just before you and I went live. The Montreal Canadiens put up 3 goals on the Bruins. It wasn't easy for them. They were down 1-0 and they came back and things like that. But last year when I was on your show a lot, I would talk about doing that with underdogs, but I kind of want to get away from doing that because I feel like the math makes more sense to take the dog just to win the game. If they're going to, like, if you told me right now, hey, Andrew, I saw into the future, your Habs are scoring 3 tonight, then I'd probably be like, well, they've got a chance here, you know? And so part of me thinks to myself, what would I rather, the plus price in the money line or take that team total? Hey, if they lose 4 or 5-3, all the power to the Flames. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Again, it's you're that's the hardest part of hockey or any sport, that you're trying to turn the favorite into a plus money price, where here you're saying to yourself, well, if I think Montreal's going to win, I'd rather be more comfortable taking the plus 135 versus the minus 130 and them getting a 3. I'll tell you this right now. If Montreal scores 3 goals tonight, I think they win the game. Now, is it 3-2? Is it 3-1? Is it 3-0? Is Ken Dryden in net or Carey Price? No. Okay. But what has the Flames done to be minus 155? Never mind. You're telling me they're going to score 4, 5, or 6 goals tonight? I mean, if you like Montreal, you're better off grabbing the outright plus the 135 instead of saying, well, if they get to 3, it doesn't matter. But I don't want to lay the 30 cents on Montreal tonight.
100%. And look at what's going on with Jonathan Huberdeau. I feel bad for him. I mean, look at his numbers right now. The guy has been benched in the third period, back-to-back games. He's averaging like less than 15 minutes of ice time. It's crazy. And then you look at Sean Monahan from the Montreal Canadiens. Hit the last time I spoke with you, last Tuesday, I talked about his point prop. It's unbelievable. You look at the game so far. Let's go back to October 26th against Columbus. He got a goal. Next game, he got a goal against Winnipeg. The game after that, he had a goal against Vegas. The game after that, he scored against Arizona. And then he went on 3 games straight, getting 3 assists. I think it's like 7 of his last 8 games, he has a point. But because Montreal are continuously underdogs, Jeff, the price you're getting on him to get a point has not really changed very much. I'm looking at 2 different books right now. One of them is showing me minus 115. One of them is showing 125. You got a guy that scored or assisted in 7 of the last 8. And here's the thing about the Montreal Canadiens. Compared to some other teams like we were talking about, let's be real here. Besides maybe Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki's gotten better consistency. He's actually having a quietly good season, but they don't really have a Nathan McKinnon. You know, Cole Caulfield's supposed to be our sniper, right? You know who Sean Monahan plays with? Brendan Gallagher and Tanner Pearson. And if you're not a Montreal Canadiens fan like me, you're crapping all over those line mates. Brendan Gallagher hasn't been good in 3 years, and Tanner Pearson's on his way out. I think that's why his number is what it is. Again, minus 115 for him. Nick Suzuki is minus 160, and Cole Caulfield's minus 145. So I'm shouting it out there for anybody interested in player props for this game. I think Sean Monahan at minus 115 is worth a look here.
I just circled it for you.
That's the Jeff Dawson
go,
pizza and beer. I had to say that. That's the pizza and beer money, as you say.
Before I let you go, and I know I'll be back on your channel Thursday, we're going to do a little CFL Grey Cup talk. Montreal shocks the world and beats Toronto last week, and Winnipeg is Winnipeg. Congratulations. I saw it all over Twitter. I saw Gabe on your Hail Mary first half cover with the BC Lions there. But as we're staring at a Grey Cup where we had the dog in the final and the champion last year on Sunday, we talked at length backstage before we came on live. You texted me on Sunday and says, what did you think the opening number would be? Would it be double digits? And I says, well, I'll get a feel if they give you the 7.5 number versus the 9.5 number. Winnipeg opens up 7.5, immediately goes to 8 against the Montreal Alouettes, an under over of 47. You know where I lean already, but I want all the listeners and people watching this show to get a feel for currently where your eyes are on the Grey Cup on Sunday.
My eyes right now, and you and I spoke backstage, but my eyes right now are trying to absorb and come into this without any biases. You got a team on I think now 7-game winning streak, being the Montreal Alouettes, if we're including the playoffs. Are they legit? Are they for real? Do they belong here? And I think the answer is they shut down Chad Kelly, and Chad Kelly's the reason why Toronto was so great all year. I like that message from Russell there. Well, because it's pizza and beer money, you should have enough coin for some more pizza and beer. I think that when I look at this matchup, though, I think that Montreal, they caused 9 turnovers against Toronto. And that, to me, was the recipe for success. Their defense playing well. But can their offense put up points on a Winnipeg defense that gets to the quarterback like they do? Can Montreal stop their run game? And I ask myself this because Montreal played so well, and they didn't even have to do it. They didn't even have to have their offensive weapons going. And I've debated all kinds of plays, whether it be totals or whether it be sides. And after talking with you and kind of you hearing my breakdowns, the more we started looking at things, the more the under became in play here. Because I talked about Montreal's scoring opportunities came off their defense, off fumbles, off, forcing turnovers, off pick sixes and things like that. So, and even if their defense does continue to play well, can their offense put up points on the Winnipeg defense? It's very interesting, but I think the highlight we should point out about Winnipeg is not that they're back in the Grey Cup again, not that they're a potential dynasty. They held the BC Lions, Jeff, to 13 points last week in the Western Finals. That's very impressive. And you always hear about good teams and the crazy plays they made. And let's not forget, like you just talked about, it was Justin McInnis, the guy that shares the same last name as me. He had the full field Hail Mary catch before halftime. And that's the only reason why they were able to put up 7. So I don't know. I think that this is a mismatch. The number at 7.5 to 8.5 already. They know people are going to like Winnipeg in this one, but if Montreal can hang around, their defense will have to make plays as they did last week.
And we're going to have a lot more time to digest this. We'll be talking about this on Thursday. And as Russell just said, strict budgeting says if you spend your pizza and beer money, you'll need to borrow from the kids' piggy bank to keep the beers flowing. And that's why you then run and get that. When I was a kid, Russell, way back in the day, a million years ago, Mom always had a box of Elio's frozen pizza ready. So you can always at least have a piece of pizza available. So we hope to keep the beer flowing and staying away from the frozen pizza. There. As we always close out here, we can go follow Andrew at McInnis Picks at Wager Talk at Sports Mayflower. Jump over to YouTube to Mayflower Sports. Andrew, your work, your dedication is second to none. Your puck time, your wager wire shows every day. Where can they go to watch and listen your podcast, etc.? And what do you have available this week for the viewers and listening that might be interested in jumping in on some of your packages?
As always, you're the host with the most, so I really appreciate you having me on, and we always have fun together. Time flies by, that's for sure. And when I come on here, I learn from you all the time, Jeff, whether it's hockey or CFL or whatever it might be. So I appreciate being here with you. And tomorrow is another customer appreciation day at Wager Talk. So we're going to have some discounted prices. So if anybody's interested in dipping their toes in the water, I invite you to join us tomorrow at Wager Talk for some great prices. And hockey's heating up. We've hit 4 straight total plays. So sides, I still got to get those together, but the totals are coming together. And last night with the Avalanche team total, they had 1 goal, I think, in the late part of the second period, or 0 goals. And they ended up the second period with 2 goals, got 2 in the third period, and we cashed that one. So a few totals plays. You guys heard a few of them already today on the show, and we'll try and keep things going.
Always a pleasure. Shout out to Mr. Russell. We'll keep the beer and pizza money going. Quack Attack is always in college football. We'll have a lot more shows this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Of course, Mr. Ron and I will be back on Friday, Russell, at 5 o'clock. Hopefully no more technical difficulties there. This morning with Travis Geiger from WagerWire, talking some graphs and charts, some good stuff. But as always, everyone here, thank you so much. Riley Magnuson will be coming on shortly with the closing bell. But till then, from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Investor, one and only Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks, wish everyone a blessed afternoon. Thank you guys so much for watching all day. And we will see you soon.